Good.
Start.
That's okay. It will revoke.
A very happy, joyous, and a green morning to all of you. I welcome you all to this YouTube live session on behalf of CP Goenka International School, Thane. I welcome our esteemed principal, Ms. Sharmila Madiwale, for attending the session, and our guest speaker, Mr. Vijay Kumar Katti is here. A very warm welcome to you, sir, on this platform. To begin the session, I would like Sharmila ma'am to address us.
Thank you so much, Vedehi. Once again, a very good morning to everybody. Good morning, Vijay sir. It's a pleasure for all of us to attend this online session, the orientation on growing your own plants. This is something that we have always proved ourselves to be a school which is an environmental friendly school. We started our first project on collection of empty milk packets, and the project is going on very well. I really congratulate all the students and parents for participating wholeheartedly and continuing with this project of collection of milk packets. Alongside, we are also going to have this second project which is coming up, which is being now introduced by none other than Dr. Vijay Kumar Katti, and he is a known personality in Thane, and he's going to help you understand how to grow succulents, how to grow these plants which don't require soil. We have had one session on the topsoil, if you remember. So these are the plants which can be grown without using soil. And my dear students and my dear parents, I want you all to do this activity during this summer vacation. And when we come back in June, I want to see the collection of small little plants in each class. I want the classrooms to be filled with all these plants and giving a message rather than only talking about save environment, save topsoil, save paper, save plants. If we walk the talk, that is something which is going to be all the more effective. The next part of this project also is very much in my mind, because sir during his orientation will surely be talking about the snake plant, which is a natural air purifier. So that is something which is coming up next. After this project, I want my dear students to focus on the plantation of these natural purifiers in and around our school, right? So thank you so much for joining in, and I'm sure you all will enjoy this activity during summer vacation. And thank you so much, Vijay sir, for joining in and for briefing our students in detail on these plans. Thank you very much. Over to you, Vedehi.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Shantanu is the representative of our school, Mr. Shantanu and Mr. Michael. Two of our representatives from CP Goenka School are already with Mr. Vijay Katti at his residence. I request Mr. Shantanu to take the session forward.
Thank you, Vedehi ma'am. Okay, we have only one earth, and it is the need of the hour that we stand for what we stand on. We have no shortage of daunting challenges ahead of us. We at CPGIS pledge to line up the gap, and we basically follow the sustainability development goals of the UN, which is to save soil, which is now a global movement. This was launched by Sadhguru to address the soil crisis. CP Goenka International School Thane had a wonderful session for this with the students on saving the soil. CPGIS is an environmental friendly school and is instrumental by action and also the part of action. We want our children to understand how to cultivate the plants without soil. Basically, the previous session was told how we can cultivate without soil the plants, which basically helps us in getting more oxygen and nurture them for our own good. As an extension of the Save Soil initiative, we would like to enrich you with some best practices by none other than Mr. Vijay Kumar Katti sir, who's also fondly called as the tree man. He is recipient of many national as well as international awards and has been featured in newspapers like Hindustan Times, Lokmat, etc. Only One Earth is the campaign slogan with the focus on living sustainability in harmony with nature. Katisar venture started with Vesak India that proposes to carry out activities for the students to help propagate indoor plants without using soil. Over to you, Katisar.
Thank you. Welcome all children, the future of our one earth. Today, I'm going to explain what all the opportunities available around us, what are the benefits around us. And I would like to discuss the two different meaning of a nature, the human nature and the nature. Nature consists of all living, non-living creatures, and how best they are supporting to each other. We are all interconnected. We cannot survive in this world without a support from other person. Although we are independent to express our knowledge, independent to say something about or do something about it, while doing it, we should be in a position to take care of the other nature. We should not disturb it. That's the reason I would like to explain or demonstrate whatever the knowledge that I have in to link between the human nature and the nature in general, which may be including water, it may be a soil, it may be greenery around us, it may be n number of non-living creatures also. Presently, what we are thinking about, what is beneficial to me in terms of a monetary or something. But I would like to link much more beyond that. What is joy? How do you get recognized? How do you get interest in the subject? How do you make it better and better and better? Which will be beneficial to many, which I am a part of it. It is not doing it for me. I am doing it for many people where I'm a part of it. It means automatically I also get benefited. This is what exactly the sustainability means. Whatever I do it for my own purpose, it is limited to my own. I neglect others. If I do it for others, with a confidence that I am also part of them, that is what exactly the nature has to be there. Human nature has to be changed. The behavior has to be changed. These aspects can be learned practically while doing a plantation. That's what my experience since last 10 to 15 years, working on plants, plantation, plant growth, plant problems, plant benefits, and how best they can give a shelter, how best they can give a food, how best they can participate without anticipating any kind of a recognition to maintain the eco-balance. This is what exactly I would like to discuss with the kids. Build up the confidence among you so that you can also do it. When you do it, it becomes your own plant. That belongingness has to be there, then only the things can be done. That's what we'll be explaining about it. This here, what we are seeing here, I'm using absolutely no garden soil. Why? These are all succulent plants. There is no plant which requires water here. Water consumption is 0. And they grow in a condition and they get what exactly they wanted in a proper way rather than excessive of it. I'll be doing an exact preparation and how best this particular activity helps in developing a patience, understanding others' point of view. Third thing is belongingness and the confidence to contribute. This is what exactly we will be covering in this. I'm not doing anything miracle here. I'm just explaining the experience that I have gone through it, understanding the plant needs. And second thing is the opportunities are n. There are n number of ways. Plants are grown in a container, a glass container. This will give an opportunity for kids to explore their imagination, put into a particular thing, demonstrate it. The kind of a happiness that you get it, along with that, you learn many things. Where we went wrong, where are we going wrong? Because this activity has to be a part and parcel of a life rather than a temporary for an environment day or for Earth Day, for a October 2nd. We all celebrate Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. I would like to explain what is Swachhata means. During my process, why the requirement of cleanliness is there, not only for us, it is for the plants also. Many natural things create their own natural cleanliness process on their own. And we'll be covering everything in detail. Today, we're going to talk about the pre-primary school. We'll be starting with A, B, C, D. If I know the A, B, C, D, then I can make a word. Then I can make a sentence. Then I can make a read many things, understand many things, implement anything. Without knowing ABCD, if we jump into directly writing a book, it is not possible and it will not be communicated. That's what we will be covering in detail. What should be done, how it should be done. While doing a plantation, how can you understand a history? How can you understand a geography? How can you understand a science? How can you understand many more things that is there in your textbook? This will be a practical experience of understanding a subject. Once you understand, the confidence build up, then you will face many challenges in the life, and you make your career much more brighter with a confidence, and you make sure that your knowledge is shared, contributed. Along with that, nature is also taken care. Without that, it is not possible to live in this world. Let's take it to a session where we can practically do the elementary of a plantation, where we go wrong and how we go wrong, how to correct it. Nothing is perfect in this world. Every benefit has a drawbacks along with it. What we can do is how to reduce those drawbacks so that minimal damage can be done, so that we can reach towards the perfection. Otherwise, it is not possible to do a perfect thing in the life. So let's continue and let's take it to the other places.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I would like to give a similarity how the plant grows. I'll take an example in open place when you plant is planted on a ground. When you plant in the ground, what happens? And the same kind of a thing, if I want to put the plant in a container. If I want to put in a container, if it is in the ground, this is a, I would like to create a scenario where it is planted in the ground. What is earth? How many layers are there? How the plant gets complete nourishment and it is kept away from many diseases and it has a growth possibility. It all depends upon the earth structure, the layers of the earth that you have studied in your textbook. What is, how many layers are there? Mainly 4. The core layer, which is solid in nature. The next is upper layer, which is filled with a water. And third layer is mental, which is porous in nature. Fourth one is our crust area, which is 70% is water, 34% is land. Why this particular combination is there? It is support to each other. We should support to each other. If it is 70% land, 30% this thing, which would have been an imbalance, which could have not sustained the weight that is required. So the structure of the earth itself is a best example to understand, and which is a logical in nature. The studies have been done. The lowest layer, core layer, is solid in nature. The second layer is liquid in nature. Third thing is porous in nature. And on the top of it, we have a layer of a soil and other things which are rich in minerals and vitamins. So when we do a plantation in a particular area and a plant has a particular requirement, plant is a flowering plant or it is a fruit plant, it is a shade plant, or there are a number of plants that can be are there. But it is not possible to make those plants at a home, and that's the reason people started with an idea of container plantation. That is, I can put the plant in the home. Today, I will be covering more on indoor plantation rather than the outdoor plantation, because explaining those things, those requirements will be a little difficult at this juncture, at this particular conditions. The plantation is a process from a seed to seed generation. From a seed, you sow a seed, that becomes a plant, that gives a seed, and that once again the seed is sowed. This is a continuous process. It is never ending process. During the process, what happens, how it develops, how it goes on, can be understood very clearly while doing the indoor plantation. I said interconnected. For example, you are all going to a school and there are 6 subjects in your curriculum. Second is 2 languages, mathematics, history, geography, mathematics, and one more subject. Why these subjects are there? They are all interlinked. They are interlinked in such a way that we know the nature, we know the understand the subject very well. Similarly, there are n number of plants available, and every plant has a different requirement. For example, there are plants create a structure which is similar to earth. So I'm taking an example of this. I'll put the solid materials such like gravels. There is a piece of stones that have been collected, which is natural. So in this process, what I'm doing is making my container similar to earth. This is the first layer where I'm putting gravel. Then afterwards, I'm putting a waste product. This is nothing but a cinder waste collected for after the power generation. And this is one of the best porous material and it filters. The second layer is filtering. I'll explain why the second layer is filtration. Then afterwards, I'll put a material. This is sphagnum moss. This moss is distributed on the layer above it so that the filtered water will go and settle there. It keeps the humidity like a second layer which has got a water content. Once again, I am putting the material required for the making it porous in nature. This is what dalchini. The powder of this, I have made it already. This is a powder form, which is the best repellent, rooting hormone for the plants. I'm just putting across whole thing. Now I need what? A material where the roots can be developed. And it needs a nutrition. The third layer. What I'm forming is which is rich in minerals, vitamins, and supports the plantation. Once again, I'm using a cinder only because cinder contains all the nutrients required for the plant growth, plant support. Calcium is there, magnesium is there, potassium is there, everything is there in this particular cinder because it is taken out from the earth around 200 feet down. More than 200 feet down, this pole is there. This is once again I'm using it. Along with that, I'll put complete this and we'll be doing. This is once again the compost created out of a waste, wet waste collected at home. So I'm making it rich in all the contains in it. Any plant that we take it has a support. The root should get a place to hold on it and support. That exactly we have already created. We have already created. Now we'll put some natural stones and other things above it, which will help the plant to have a support. Then you put any plant in it. There is a space left out above this so that I can put a water on it. Whatever the water I put in here, it will not get stagnated in the growing medium, but will definitely filtered out to the sphagnum moss, to the cinder, and get settled into the core material, which is gravel. Whatever the water collected here will definitely clean in nature. Plant, there is no scope of any kind of a fungal or bacterial growth in it because it is filtered water, completely clean water, and which is not making the growing media sloggy, so that here also the growth of the plant will be never affected by any kind of a fungal or bacterial infection to the plant or any insect growing there. On the top layer, we are putting some gravels and stone so that it looks aesthetic value as well as a support to the stem to stand erect throughout. This is how I would like to replicate the same earth. It may not be exactly the same, but similar kind of a distinct will be there. As I'm doing it in a glass container, this is the way. If I'm same thing, I'm doing it in a plastic container, what I need to do is make a hole so that the water will not stand. It will go away. The most of the mistake that we do is when the garden soil is sloggy in nature, it holds water for more time. And we add cocoa peat to it, it will hold the water for more time and it will never get away from the holes. Sloggy water invites bacterial, fungal, and other problems to it. If you have any question, we can make it interactive also, and I'll take it further and we'll plant some of the plants in it. And why plantation has to be done? Plantation helps us in maintaining the ecobalance. As a natural phenomena, they release oxygen while photosynthesis and they absorb carbon dioxide to create the energy. That's it. Any questions or anything is there that we can take?
Sir, can coconut coir be used instead of sphagnum moss?
Coir is one of the best alternative for it, but coir will not have any kind of a nutritional benefit to it.
Okay. Thank you.
But sphagnum moss, it grows and it gives a nutritional benefit to the plants. It generates nutrition to the plants. That's the reason I recommend using a sphagnum moss. It is an ideal condition I would like to create it. It is not necessary that the sphagnum moss has to be used. What you said is coir can be used. Yes, it can be used. Coir is once again, it will not have any kind of a fungal attack on a coir because it doesn't have any kind of a nutrition. It has a capacity to hold the water, which is required at the third layer. You can use coir, you can use sphagnum moss, or you can use many more materials which is available around you. You can use bricks, used for the building purpose. Not the present bricks, it's a bricks made out of a soil can be used because they have been burned to a higher degree so that all the fungal and bacterial infections are already taken out and no weeds, seeds are there in those kind of things. Though that can also become, they hold water and they filter water and they never have any kind of a infection to the plant or a growth of a bacterial fungal.
Thank you so much.
This reminds me, the soil, which is one of your focus area, where we went wrong, why the soil is getting deteriorated. Whether we are doing an indoor plantation, whether we are doing a cultivation, a farmer, everybody, for individual benefit, instead of making it as a benefit to all the people, and I am the part of it, what we started doing is how much better I get it. In that process, we started using chemical fertilizer. Those chemical fertilizers are soluble in nature. Suppose if I am hungry, if I eat 10 days food at one day, what is going to happen is indigestion. Many more problems can come. Similarly, soil for a cultivation, what we did is using more of a chemical synthetic fertilizers. We have given enough, more than enough supplements to the plant without having a proper neutralizing process, which has deposited there. Anything excess leads to some other problem. That's what I said. Nothing is perfect in this world. We have an advantage. There are disadvantages. As a human being, have the capacity to think over it and avoid such kind of problems. We can minimize the problems, minimize the drawbacks. That's where the role of a human being. Otherwise, all living creatures are doing their best without having the capacity to think and act on it, because they're stagnant. Without any kind of a thinking power, the plants are ultimate hope for eco-balance from the generations.
True, sir.
They never stop it. What are the best way? For example, this plant is there. We have planted. Photosynthesis happens. We all know it, but we never care to clean up the upper surface. Dust is getting accumulated. The sunlight is not entering into it. How the photosynthesis can happen? If the photosynthesis is not happening, the energy is not generated, and it is supposed to absorb carbon. It absorb, release carbon, oxygen. We are hampering it by not cleaning up the leaves. If the dust is there on a leaf, it means it is not doing a photosynthesis properly. This is the first step that we have to take it if you are doing a plantation. Maybe in your society, maybe next to your door, or somebody has planted some plant. You clean up that leaf.
Perfect.
That's the beginning of your contribution to the society. Don't plant it. If you have any plant around you, you start cleaning up the process, which is not requiring any much more time of yours, and definitely this plant will grow better as compared to the situation with the dust.
Sir, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Instead of glass containers, I mean, I would be against plastic, but this is one of the questions I have received. Can we use plastic containers instead of glass containers?
Nothing is wrong. As I said very clearly, everything has a benefit and drawbacks.
Okay.
If you are using a plastic container, due to the heat generated from outside, also inside, there is some kind of a heat generated when you plant a tree. That particular atmosphere helps the root generation, absorption, and germination. Whether the plastic will have an effect, because any heat, the chemical property changes. Why I would like to recommend, go for a certain items which minimize the drawbacks.
Correct.
Nothing wrong in using a plastic container. Even this containers I have collected from my waste. Now they are helping me out.
Correct.
And I'll show you some of the things from a waste which I've collected, and I'm doing a plantation in that.
Sir, I have got one more question here. Sphagnum moss, can it be grown? We can grow sphagnum moss, isn't it?
If I put 5 grams of a sphagnum moss in my plantation, end of the year it will be around 100 grams. It never dies.
So this will grow here inside it?
Inside. Because I am supporting in with such a thing that which will be multiplying on its own in a positive way. In a positive way. Don't use coir. Why I say repeatedly, don't use a coir in any kind of your plantation is because it holds water. Any stagnant water is a problem. Invitation to the many insects. In and around your school or your place, wherever the stagnant water is there, mosquitoes are more.
Correct. Sir, how do we multiply succulents?
Multiplying succulent is a very easy thing. Provide what you wanted. Succulents, many people are well aware about this. What is this? This is a snake plant. Some people can call it as a mother's tongue also. It's very sharp. Mother-in-law's tongue, very sharp. Please don't mistake. You can see this little things coming out of it. This is not in a soil since last 2 or 3 months. I'm showing a plant which is not there in the.
So without soil, it
without soil.
What about water?
Water it absorbs from the nature. humidity. Oh. These are the roots. Very thin roots are there. The main objective of showing all this thing is rhizomes. Rhizomes is one way we can multiply the plants. One will become 10 within a short period. This is also succulent.
Sir, can flowering plants be grown
Let
with
me
this method?
Let me complete the succulents and I will come to that. 1 second.
Sure.
Can you see a plant here? Do you see any kind of a mud or anything associated with? There's a particular leaf fallen down from a particular family of a succulent. Keep it in such a condition where it can become a plant also. You can see a number of plants grown up without anything. I just put a sphagnum moss for a cushion purpose and there is no water. You can just, it is dry in nature. Dry in nature. It grows. Once it grows, I transfer that into small container, provide them with a sink, they become a plant. It is so simple. Succulents are known as a desert plants. And they always grow under a shade. They don't give a shade, they are much comfortable under shade. It means light requirement is also less. The third thing, rooting. Roots are very delicate in nature with a specific power of absorbing the nutrition from a hard material also. Like sand, coal, from they absorb their nutrients. Yeah, your question now.
Sir,
Can we have?
can
Yes,
pla-
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can flowering plants be grown in the same way, the same method? Can that be used?
Yeah, let's see, anything flowering, it needs more sunlight. Even succulents use small flowers. A tiny flowers are there. When any lady says a flowering pot, it means rose. Am I right? That is attractive in nature.
Yes.
This is also succulent plant. This is growing in a moss. I think I have watered around 4 months back.
So the moss has also grown in this
Yes.
along with the. Oh.
And one more, as far as the present situation of the global warming is concerned, mosses are the highest carbon absorbing ones. The combination of what I'm talking about, these plants, I've selected almost all the plants which are succulents. And we'll be talking about some air purifying plants which is recommended by NASA. The success of any plant's growth is give them a conducive atmosphere which is similar to the earth. Make sure that water will never get stagnated. We all know if the stagnant water produces bacteria, mosquitoes, unnecessary viral, many things which are not good for us. Cleanliness. This is how we can make it. This is how we can understand the subject. Basically, plant doesn't need anything very specific. We make it complicated by putting our own thoughts in. It wants an atmosphere where it is rich in minerals and vitamins. Certain plants like to grow high, shady plants. Then it has to be in a container which has longer neck.
Katty, sir, I have one request to make.
See,
Yeah, sir, I have one request to make.
Yeah.
I wanted to see, I mean, you are called the tree man,
Yeah.
right? There is a reason why that you have been called the tree man. May I
Yeah.
know the reason? And I would like to have a tour of a few rooms in your house so that our audience understands why are you called the tree man.
See, the name Tree Man is given. I don't know why it is given to me, because they must have seen in a Bombay, in a city like cosmopolitan city, people don't get a space to accommodate their own day-to-day requirements. In that conditions, I have grown more than 2,500 plants in my own bedroom. And every 6 months, I change it to newer structures. Present situation, I have more than 2,500 succulents. Previously, I had all the plants, flowering plants. Before that, I had all vegetable garden in my bedroom. And I have collected many plants. Rather than a plant, I would like to say cuttings thrown out after the road clearance from the trees. I've collected those plants, put into my home, and I have grown up, given them a life to it. They have become a tree now. And I have planted them into many schools in Adivasi schools in and around Bhivandi Taluka. Because people say cutting, tree cutting, tree cutting is necessary. It is disturbing your traffic. It may fall off. It may give some kind of a accidents. Keeping that in mind, they cut it. But I would like to suggest one thing. Those cut branches can also be once again renovated, or it can be rooted and it can be planted once again. They can grow in a much higher way.
This is a new idea, sir. We actually do talk about not cutting the trees, but then
I would like to tell you one thing. I have come across many seminars, workshops where they say we stopped giving a flower bouquet. I say it is a wrong myth. Any plant grows when you cut it. The moment you cut a plant, branches, pruning has to be done so that it can grow vertically. Otherwise, it goes straight. Pruning. In that process, the florist gets money. You generate revenue for a person. You give an opportunity for a person to express his thoughts. And the person who is giving a bouquet to somebody, he expresses his gratitude. There's one thing, you reconnect it, everyone is get satisfied with it. But by promoting a wrong notion, you should not give a flower bouquet. I say you should give a more flower bouquet so that the more people can get their livelihood in a right way. More people can express their gratitudes to the people they come across, appreciate them. This kind of a promotion will help naturally effect on a society that if I do something good, I'll be get recognized, I'll be honored. That is the message goes around to the people. These are the things that we do regularly since the beginning. Main objective is motivate people. We observe many Jayantis so that you should also do something. You will also be get recognized whether you are there or not there. That particular thing motivates you to do something good always. That's how I take it. If you want to be the change, be the change. He will do it, she will do it, thou not done it. It doesn't make any difference. At least I can plant one tree, I can reduce 1 gram of a carbon dioxide, 1 gram of a oxygen generated. And if we collectively, 500 family do it, 500 gram is reduced, 500 gram is produced. That's the reason I call it reduce one, produce one. Reduce one bad habit, produce one new habit. Reduce one carbon dioxide, produce one oxygen. Reduce one, produce one, applies everywhere. universal truth, nothing is perfect in this world. What we can do is reduce the unwanted things, neglect unwanted things. They will get diminished, they don't get attention, they never grow, but they will be there. They will be there, but they will be minimized so that we can reach to the perfection where my contribution to society increases and I can take it further. Many times this process has taught me English also. So, sir, I have learned English while doing this because there are certain terms which I need to explain to the people. If I don't know it, the communication becomes wrong. That's the reason say English one of the important subject that to be taught in English. That's the reason basic education, primary education starts with the language rather than mathematics, the science, or history or a geography. If you know how to communicate, and if you communicate and if it is same is received by the end person, that's achievement. That's time you feel like, yes, I've learned something. I've learned mathematics in it. I have learned science in it. Plantation has given me much more areas to learn more. For example, nowadays everybody is very much familiar with the Google. But how many people get an exact search results? The moment you put a question, millions of answers will come. That will make you more confused rather than getting the answer out of it. So you should know how to question it. Your question is vague. That's the reason there are so many answers come. The moment you get minimum number of results from a Google site, it means you know the subject better. You know what should be asked and how it should be asked, what format it should be asked. So this particular learning process is a never-ending process. There is a scope for many things. Plantation, why I told very clearly, why I've been called as a tree man. The basic question I got deviated is only because I keep on trying it and I never give up and I grow and grow and grow. And secondly, I don't only just grow, I communicate to people. I make other people to understand the subject and make it simple so that the people can replicate it. Many a times we plant it, it becomes successful. But the same, if you can do it n number of times and the same result comes, that time the perfection has come. First time it may be a coincidence. Second time, if you get it, it means you have understood the subject much better. The students that we do what I used to do in my college or a school, study for the exam purpose. Next time, whenever people ask me a question, oh, 7th mein maine padha. Right. That is the difference. When you do it and practices, replicate n number of times, that is perfection. That can be learned while doing a plantation. First of all, any plant to be get developed, it takes time. So that has to be, we have to be a patience in nature that develops patience in us, which is the most important thing to be successful.
Sir, how do you use that waste basically?
Yes. Next subject was that.
Okay.
What I was saying is, we always, if you take up any project or any kind of a ventures, what we start initially is what I don't have it, how to acquire them. I would like to suggest one thing, start with what you have it rather than worrying about what you don't have it. Most of the plants are attacked by the insects and other things. I didn't go to any market to find out any repellent, chemical synthetic repellents available. This is what exactly I use. Every home has onions because onion gives the best taste. I have made a powder out of it. The particular smell will repel the insects. It will stop the growth of the fungus. In that, I use all the peels of onion, garlic, which has strong odor to repel most of the insects which are there in the plants. That's the reason I said dalchini, hing. They are the best resources available. And my most of the plantation, what I do is use the available resource at a home rather than buying it. Understand? This gave me an appreciation to the Indian cooking method also. See, the subject opens up. Ancestors, the way of cooking, the way of our results. Why they use hing, why they use dalchini, why they use halad, why they use n number of things. The similar things can be used here also, and you will understand. In 1997, I used to teach computer to the ladies who are not even 7th standard. That time I used to compare computer and a kitchen. Computer is exact replica of your kitchen. Memory, no memory, RAM, everything can be explained with the help of a kitchen. Indian traditions are most scientific in nature. My childhood is in a rural place, and we have got results out of it. I should be grateful to my teachers who gave me an opportunity to understand the subject, not to pass the examination, but to make the life easy. I would like to tell one thing. At the age of 8, 3rd standard, there was a competition in my school. Allocation. Take out a chit and give a bhashana. I took up a participation. I picked up a chit. It was Mahatma Gandhi. And I usual respect to the stage holder, everything I did it. And afterwards I said, I don't know anything about Mahatma Gandhi. And I sat down. That boldness should be. They have given me a first prize and the attention towards the me. He's the one person, if he doesn't know, he say, I don't know. That boldness has been created by and appreciated. This is what education, what we get in a primary school.
Very well said, sir. True. Education makes that difference. We are at the fag end of this program, dear children and parents. I thank Mr. Katti for his valuable time. It has been a wonderful experience. Saving soil, planting trees, reducing global warming, saving water. We have many challenges ahead of us, but gaining awareness, I think, is the first step towards solving these problems. Thank you, Mr. Katti,
Madam,
for this wonderful
yeah,
session.
I would like to say one thing.
Yes.
Today's session, we have just talked about it. We have not covered anything of it. And I would request, make it in such a way that the students can make their own plant, create their own plant.
True, sir. I'll just show you this.
Yeah.
This is a succulent, basically gifted to all the CP Goenka teachers and our colleagues by a colleague of ours.
Yeah.
So she's working with us, and she made this, and she has gifted this to each and every one of us. So now all of us have this one at home. And
Yeah.
after this session, I know that at least the staff here is going to move from one plant to many, and probably our houses would look the same way as your house looks in a few years. Is what is the
I would
what
like
is
to
the
guide
outcome
one
of this
thing.
session?
this particular plant which is there in your hand,
Yes.
that is echeveria. And you should water once in 15 days, half a spoon.
Half a spoon in once and yeah, she has in fact trained us and told us quite a few things how to look after this succulent. Thank you so much. I thank Sharmila ma'am to give us this wonderful opportunity to learn so much. It's a beautiful initiative, and I hope our parents along with children would be extremely interested in having this, something very simple, something without soil, and something that can be done at home. I think it has been a wonderful session. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time. Parents, students, thank you so much for your valuable time. And I hope we have learned a lot. And as Sharmila ma'am said, this is going to be our summer activity. And the entire classroom also should look like Katki sir's drawing room now, right? By the time you come back in June, the entire classroom, all classrooms should look the way it is looking on the screen currently. On behalf of CP Goenka sir, I thank you so much for your valuable time. Shantanu sir, Michael sir, thank you so much. And I would like to end this session here. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I am thankful to all the schools, teachers, and students listening to me and motivating me to do some more things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.